everybody, and welcome to Artist, Wife, Writer, Husband Podcast, starring
me, Artist Wife, Middnite,
and me, Writer Husband, Neff,
featuring our co-host,
MDC.
I think I got the virus.
MDC.
Oh, jeez. We're already starting off with a controversial episode.
Yeah, some little black humor. You guys should already know by now.
No, wait, hold on.
Yeah, really
Black?
Sorry, dark humor, black humor. I don't know.
All the same to me.
It doesn't help that he's the darkest in the room.
I mean, he black. You black? We black? Black humor?
I'm black and I'm black and I'm black, y'all. And I'm black and I'm black and I'm
I
black,
totally
y'all.
meant dark humor.
For those of you who haven't realized, yes, we are black.
That'd be really
I think we just lost
right.
half our followers off of that.
Because we're black or because we said that?
that leaves us with a total of like 16, 17.
You're black? Racist. Like the bottom of the barrel of all of humanity.
Oh, dang. Yeah, no, that's not wrong. That's true.
Stupidest
But
thing.
we've been having some issues with the mic, with our sound recently. We finally got everything set up the way that I like it.
Yeah, we apologize for any inconsistencies in quality.
Yeah, because the last, I want to say episode 13, that was pretty funky sound wise. Yeah, one of our mics just really wasn't picking up like it should have. But today, this time around, we better. We got all the mics hooked up to this mixer thing. We can have one more mic if we ever get a guest.
Yeah,
we might get a guest. I'm thinking about
some ideas.
Ashley.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Hey, Ashley.
You know, that's so vague.
But no, seriously, on a serious note, before we get into this, I did want to at least say, stay safe, stay indoors, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think the CDC said not to like congregate in groups larger than 50 or whatever.
I mean,
just be mindful because there's a lot of sickness going around. We found out one of our friends' girlfriend had was diagnosed with the coronavirus.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely stay safe. Like
just practice the hygiene.
As millennials, we do turn most of the serious shit into a joking manner, but in all honesty, I don't want no one to get sick.
You don't want anybody to get sick.
And real
That's
shit.
what I said.
I was just saying it with you.
Oh yeah.
And real shit.
True shit.
Real shit.
Real shit.
Well, shit.
Shouldn't be fucking with anyone that don't wash their hands anyway.
Yeah, that's true though. Just practice the hygiene your mama taught
I heard you, if you don't wipe, you never have to wash.
That's not true. Always wash after you wipe. That's disgusting, please.
Yeah, you're gonna go to hell. You might as well set yourself on fire first, right?
I like that one. But yeah.
So this episode is actually a continuation episode.
We got sponsors.
Sponsored by.
No, I wish we did. I just wanted to say it.
Nuts. Sorry.
Is he still running for president?
Who?
Oh, these nuts. Yeah, I hope so.
He's still a candidate?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Totally over.
I was really about his policies.
Yeah. I really resonated with.
As a matter of fact, These Nuts was a he, right?
Oh, we don't.
Ooh.
We respect
gender?
we're just gonna respect the gender pronouns.
Okay.
I mean, they're nuts.
Well, the name was These Nuts.
That's
but
true. But I mean, these
nuts can be your nuts.
It could be. Well, you know what? Are we really doing this?
Can be our nuts.
I mean, I'm just saying, it would be nice to have a pretty reliable candidate. At least I know what These Nuts are about.
I would sponsor someone named These Nuts.
Okay. Would it be like a chip or a nut company or something? Or
what would be a chip company?
This actually is a company
so,
like that, right?
Yeah.
There's a company that a food company called These Nuts.
I'm gonna look that up further later. Not now because I'm drawing.
We should ask them for sponsorship. I don't know how it would relate.
It'd be funny.
Would
sure.
you guys,
we like
listeners, would y'all eat nuts
what kind
from
of nuts
These
do you
Nuts
eat?
if they sponsored These Nuts?
If they had a mixed bag of nuts, I'd totally,
Oh my God, some things just never die. Anyways,
like
Mama,
These Nuts.
Memes are forever.
Holding it down.
Memes are forever.
Yeah, dude, hold it down.
This episode
This episode is a continuation episode from one of our previous ones this season. Yes, it is.
Is it?
Inspiration.
Yes. Boy,
Inspiration
where have you
part two.
been?
Okay,
This
no,
whole
you know what?
time.
No, y'all explain things differently, and it offends me.
No,
Because you
I
said
don't
it one way,
explain anything.
you said it another way, and I
Read
didn't
your emails.
register.
Read the
You
emails.
don't email me.
CC us back, both of us.
CC? I don't know what that means. CC? Is it
Who
CC?
that?
Is it BCC?
God,
Yes.
being alive, man, ain't it the shit?
And you know what? I'm not gonna do it. Yes.
What?
This is all I'm gonna say. You can take that both ways.
Oh, I bet you
Man,
could,
shits.
especially these nuts.
You losing people make it seem the way that the toilet paper
Man,
is flying off the shelves.
bruh, we had to borrow from relatives. Bless their hearts, but gosh darn it, people. But, well, we're not borrowing because we're not giving it back. But
Yeah, why would you? I want to say
Sorry.
like,
it's like the thing to say, but then people are like, don't you mean, get? Because, you can't.
you know.
Oh yeah, like if you be like, can I borrow?
Yeah.
A...
And they'd be the first ones to be like, don't you mean? I don't know why I did the glasses thing, but it just kind of matches to what I'm doing.
Cause that's how you gonna be when you get old. That's why.
No.
Dang.
That's the dude over there. I'm pointing at Neff, that I'm like, hey, what are we doing tomorrow? And then I look at the time and it's 12:07, and he looks at me and just says, you mean today? Every time. Every time. You know
I'm like,
what I
yo,
mean.
That's the world. You need to stop living in the past.
7 minutes. And this was just the other
Start
day.
living in the here now.
Yes,
Here
NBC.
and now.
This is a
here
continuation.
and now.
Yes.
So part 2 of the
So we're
inspiration
talking about
episode.
genres that
Yes.
inspire us.
Yeah.
Covered of
No, we pretty much went on about the Western genre entirely. And so I wanted to jump
that
more
was
into
mainly
that.
my reason.
Yeah.
MDC named a bunch of stuff on his end.
I don't remember all of them, but I mean, I know they're important.
I don't remember
so I respect
any of the last episodes. All right, so we're even.
I already
here.
said that MDC is like that one bandmate that never remembered the musical notes, never remember the scheduling dates and what time we're supposed to be meeting to record.
He just finds out from somebody that the practice is today.
Usually I
just
just sleep.
always just shows up late.
I mean, usually I'll sleep in the garage.
People
you know.
just walking.
Like we think that he came in early, but now he just never left the
He
recording
just-
studio.
Ooh-ha.
But I want to start it off.
Okay.
So, let's see. We talked about westerns last time. That's a huge inspiration for me. The post-apocalyptic genre, the dystopian genre. Those are big ones. But another big one is slice of life. I like slice of life stuff. And for those of you who don't know what slice of life is, look at NBC. It's melodrama. It's more like a take on modern times. Sometimes, not always modern.
Novellas and soap operas.
Yeah, exactly. It's a soap opera. Not always. They don't always have to be so exaggerated as novellas.
You used to
and
watch soap operas, right, MDC?
I mean, in the sense of, I was in the basement with my family and they watched it. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember being a kid and watching Young and the Restless with my mom.
Yeah, I used to watch a bunch of them too.
And Bold and the Beautiful.
Oh,
don't know.
Young and Restless Moment was the shit. You know my favorite character? Victor.
You have a favorite character?
Yes, I have a
Yeah, I
favorite
don't
character.
remember names.
How you not? He was the old guy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He died in Titanic.
Oh.
Never
A
seen
lot of
Titanic.
people died in Titanic. Wait, huh?
Huh?
Did I know?
I've never watched Titanic
Did I know that?
in its full.
Oh,
I've seen bits and scenes here and there.
but like scenes online.
Is it good?
Wow.
Why you gotta be like this?
It's about that ship, right?
Wait,
Jeez, don't
so-
spoil the ending.
Wait, when you saw that one thing where they lifted the character up, you don't know where that's from?
Yeah, I know that's from Titanic.
Okay.
obviously.
We were
They
playing.
said that it was from Titanic.
Oh, okay. Because we were playing Mortal Kombat 11. We were playing Mortal Kombat 11, and who was the character? Noob Saibot, right? With a shadow? Is that Noob?
Yes.
I'm sorry, there's so many characters now. Some
Oh,
of them are
I
colors.
looked away from that, so I didn't even see what he did.
Oh, Oh,
I
yeah.
looked away for
What
a
did he
second.
do?
I was like, did he lift him up?
Yeah. That was like one of his ending victory poses is that his shadow comes up behind him and literally lifts him up by his waist. And Noob just has his arm like T-pose.
Hey, yo,
and it looks just like that scene.
The
And I'm just like, wait, hold on. What was that just there? Hold on, I gotta replay that.
Yo, what? Oh, man.
I was like, hold on. I saw that.
Wow.
Totally Titanic scene. Totally. Rose and Jack, right? Yeah.
Or Jack and Rose if you want to be platonic.
Platonic?
Platonic? Patriarch. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Patriarchal.
excuse me? Yeah.
Jeez.
But, yeah.
I told you, I'm really, like, high and drunk, but I don't do drugs and I haven't had nothing to drink. So it's like mentally high and drunk.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a long weekend.
It's been a long weekend. He's been on set.
Got a
We'll
nice
talk
full
about that
life.
But yes, soap operas, melodramas, dramas, the genre and anime slice of life. But I mean, pretty much, I don't really read about it too much in literature. But when it came to comics and manga, and anime, I really like the slice of life genre because it gives you these characters just living their life. If you want examples, because I do like the ones with the fantasy mixed in, of course, Fruit Basket. I would definitely suggest. Would I really suggest that one?
What is it?
Fushigi Yugi. It's not really. No, it's fantasy.
No, what is Fruit Basket?
Oh, Fruit Basket is this manga, but oh man, I know her name, but I don't want to mess it up.
Okay.
But Fruit Basket is this manga about the Chinese zodiac characters, and this girl named Toru Honda who comes in and meets the family and then learns more about them and who they are. And then there's about 23 books, 24 now, and the first 12 books are about establishing all the Chinese zodiac characters. There's the cat, my favorite character in the whole wide world, and the cat. Or if you don't know, the cat's not a part of the zodiac. The cat was tricked by the rat and missed the festival, so he never got to be one of the zodiacs. And so this character Kyo is in constant conflict with that and wants to be like every cat does. He's possessed by, all of them are possessed by the spirits of the zodiac. So you kind of figure out what it means when you say that they're possessed by the spirits of the zodiac, and it becomes.
But if the cat isn't part of the zodiac, then he's not possessed by the zodiac.
He's possessed by the vengeful spirit of the cat. It's possession lightly because it's not possession in the sense like ooh ghosts and stuff. It's a little bit more cute, but it has dark undertones, and I enjoy the dark undertones, especially in the next half of the book. Beautifully written, captivating. The anime is out now. It's so good. The second season's coming back soon. Please come back.
I thought Fruit Basket Ben had an anime.
Yeah, but then they stopped it like episode 6 or something. No, probably not.
Yeah, I used to get Fruit Basket mixed up with Fruit's Cup.
What the heck is Fruit Cups? You mean like the actual Fruit Cups?
No, it's a hentai.
Oh, really? I missed that one.
I was trying to buy it, but I was scared that they wouldn't let me buy it, so I ain't buy it.
Where we
How
at?
old are you?
Coast?
No, but I'm glad you brought that up. No, I was at Sam Goody.
Oh, okay.
This is
How
back
old
when
were you?
Forceville was kind of cool.
Yeah.
They had Walden books.
Man,
You were young.
I missed that entirely, but I heard it was
It's
great.
weird how much I remember stuff that long ago.
And then how you just kind of like forget everything else.
I mean, it's not really. It's not really that long
But
ago.
also,
But
I mean, it was more than a decade ago.
I still remember stuff from when I was 3.
I don't understand.
I remember being in the crib.
Yeah,
That's
me
spooky.
too. Yeah.
That's really spooky.
I didn't have a crib.
I remember getting hit in the rock with the eye. That's like my youngest memory. That's when I was 6.
Yeah, it must have knocked out the memory of everything before then.
Pretty much, like if my
That's
ship.
why she looks like that.
Wow, husband though. My
I'm
husband.
joking.
You're joking.
You're
Uh-huh.
beautiful. She knows that's just what I say.
Yeah, I know it is.
That's what she looked like.
It's about everybody.
Yeah, any traumatic
Like, come
experience.
on,
Gotta say, and it does kind of explain a lot, though.
wow.
About your memory.
Yeah, it does though. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
She has like crap short-term memory.
Yes, horrific.
Well, you know that the crap part, but it's
Oh, it's pretty
Sorry.
crap.
horrible.
It's pretty.
I literally could have said something a second ago, and then I'm telling Neff about it, and he's just like, "You said this." I'm just like, "No, I didn't." I'm like, "I'm sorry. I'm
Dang.
sorry. I don't mean to subject you to this."
Those who
for
have
real.
short-term memory loss, please take the time out now to like, comment, and
No,
subscribe.
I mean, I also
Oh, that's savage.
long ago was diagnosed with ADD at the time was what it was.
That's why I call you Ad Am.
Yes, but my mom was like, "Don't own it. Don't own it. We're not gonna move forward. Just don't own it."
She was like, subtract that.
Yeah. And for good or for bad, I guess. You know, she was like trying to be more empowering, but at the same time, I think we probably should have looked into it a bit more. But hey, you know what? I'm alive.
I'm sorry, just looking at MDC.
I can't see. I'm kidding. I can't see.
Well, she definitely multiplied.
Yeah, she did.
Wow. I got 4 kids. You did too.
What?
Never mind.
Trying to cause a division up in here.
The reason why I enjoy why you want to slide in the middle? No, Jamal.
I mean, is that an offer?
No, Jamal.
Not on my part.
I have long tossed you into the mythical.
We of the black delegation do
and
not
I feel
agree.
like it's fair. You know?
With the substitution.
I like slice of life because
Yeah. So going back into that,
you can play a lot.
what really inspired you with, I guess, Fruits Basket, since that's the one that you brought up first?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other ones, and I had them before the podcast. Lost them all just now, so they'll come back to me later.
Okay, but
There's a lot.
what inspired you with Fruit Basket?
The character development. It's so good and chock full of it. You have so much space to move around in the slice of life genre. You can literally just say, these people doing this thing and doing that, you know? And that could be anything. I've seen a giraffe slice of life. I've seen, what is that? My Romance Story with the big guy and the little girl.
Hold on, you just say a giraffe?
I've seen a giraffe one.
A giraffe slice
A giraffe,
of life.
yes.
Okay,
A giraffe with humans.
Let's go into that.
Okay, I haven't fully watched it yet. I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Oh, okay.
I've seen episode 1 and 2.
Okay.
But it's a giraffe.
Like
who can talk
with clothes.
No, he doesn't wear clothes.
He's in a zoo?
No. He just came to America. Japan. But, Japan's version of America because, how much I love America. And he wanted to go to school. And he wasn't a baby giraffe. He was a full-grown giraffe. And he wanted to come to America. And he wanted to go to college. And he wanted education. And he made friends. And he moved with some roommates. And, yeah, it's really wacky. It's really wacky, but also kind of cute.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's an artist.
I thought I might have saw everything when I saw that Pigeons dating sim.
Oh yeah, no, that's just the beginning. I do love dating sims too, but dating sims to me is like kind of wedged in there with the slice of life romance section.
So
that's for me though.
I feel like, especially with dating sims, and you can say dating sims in a way is kind of like slice of life, right?
Yeah. In a way, it also depends on what the slice of life is about. I mean, the dating sim is about.
True, yeah, but you said that you also like your slice of life with like fantasy elements to it.
Yeah, definitely.
But my experience with them is like usually the characters end up repeating themselves.
You might get that, and that's the fun part, right? Because that's the trick to it. If you're gonna have a full cast of characters, which with Slice of Life there normally is, Princess Jellyfish, that's a great Slice of Life one. It's about a girl who thinks that she's not pretty, and she meets a beautiful person and finds out it's a boy, dresses up in drag, and he's gorgeous. But, then it becomes like the conflict of this person is trying to accept that openly. And so she has to keep it a secret. And she also is in an all-girls dorm, so, or a sweet roommates thing. So it's like she meets the rest of them, and they all want her to stay. the boy, her. No, it's not her. It's a boy. But anyways, so he ends up moving in, but he has to keep up the rules because he's got to be a girl to stay here. And so it's like that conflict of openly being this and that. The anime didn't finish, but the manga's great. And, it helps the girl with her self-esteem because beauty is defined by you. And it's so heartfelt, but also silly a little bit.
Okay, so going back to the question.
Yeah, so going back to the question.
Is that in support of characters repeating itself? Or
no. So it's like
characters don't repeat itself?
That's saying that there's a lot you can do. And the challenge with creating a story like that is, because of the leg room there, you can have characters with similar traits. You have characters with a lot of similar traits, but ultimately they're different. if you're gonna go the route where you have, this is the thing I hate about dating sims, because you could be the girl character, and then which is you normally are, and then you get, or I guess for ultimate games you normally are, you get the bad boy, you get
Yeah.
the
And-
cold-hearted one,
Right, and that's
then they're
exactly
stuck
what I'm
in
talking
those.
about. The,
Yeah.
the bad boy, the cold heart, the sensitive one, the outgoing, adventurous one.
The young
like,
one,
isn't that
the
something
more
that
mature
you
one.
normally see?
Yeah, that's pretty common. And I want to say Fruit Baskets has those characters, right? But there's something deeper to those characters because they don't have just that one trait. So to go to Fruit Basket as an example, you have Keo. He's the bad boy one. But excuse me, you realize now that he has a sadder past to go back to, and in fact, he's not bad boy all the time. He's actually very nice. It's just that because he always grew up as the outcast, and because of the spirit that possesses him, there's a lot more than just, oh, I'm the bad boy or I'm misunderstood. He's understood. It's just that he doesn't understand himself. And so he
Okay.
sometimes doesn't know how to, but he has made, before the story begins, he's already made improvements towards fixing that for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then you discover that going on, like, oh, that's why he's not just the all-out bad boy trope. Because actually, he has a sensei. And he visits the sensei often. And so, off camera, when he's not there, and you see back in flashbacks, he goes to these lessons with the sensei, and it helps work on patience and diligence and, allowing himself to not be so hard on himself.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have another character, let's see, oh no, okay, hold on. Toro, Kyo, I know, oh my gosh. Oh, God.
Well, okay, this kind of stop you right there, though. So what you're saying is, you at a basic level, you have these characters, but eventually you start off at a basic level where these characters seem like they play this trait or role, but as the story go on, it's revealed that there's more depth to them.
Yuki, I can't believe I forgot his name. It was so easy. Yes, and that's the great part, right?
Okay.
Is
So
the
that's
character
something that you
development.
normally experience?
Yes, in Slice of Life.
Okay.
In
So-
Ultimate Games, it detracts a bit because the story's about the romance.
Yeah. I mean, that's
What?
okay. You brought up Slice of Life. I brought up the dating sim.
Yeah, and I love that. Like, that puts so much emphasis on the characters, having them grow and develop. If the characters don't grow and develop, and the story's about these characters going through stuff, how are they gonna? How are you gonna give them obstacles?
And I think I kind of see that. And Jamal, if you can help me out here, MDC. So, I normally, like, with certain stories I see, it's like, I feel like it's more challenging to create a character and show character growth with them experiencing the mundane than them going through a drastic situation. And you have a lot of stories, more so stories that's told in a movie setting that have characters go through these dramatic situations and they either don't change or they make an extremely drastic change where it kind of doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right.
How either, because one of the books I was reading about creating characters and stuff like that, it's easier to show a character going down the character arc where going down into I guess a sense of madness and whatnot. It's easier to show
Like
them going down,
regressing.
like regressing into like I guess a villain in a sense.
Right.
Then showing a character to go up, like in a more positive sense. Like if you're like, okay, this character hit rock bottom, 2 scenes later he can't be back up at the top.
Yeah.
Like, it caused a lot of confusion and stuff like that.
Right. Exactly.
So in these slice of life situations, the other name for them, like you said, is melodrama, and it can be like that. It feels like that sometimes. Like there's usually not a lot of situations where it's we got to do this to save the world or to save the city. Most things it's like, oh man, I might have accidentally took this item from outside the store. You know, it's really melodramatic and whatnot. But it's so interesting in the sense of working with something like that and to show like the character. I don't watch a lot of those myself, but I can really understand like the appreciation for character growth in situations like that. Because usually when you're thrown into like an action or something that's action or adventurous, it's so in your face and so important that you kind of don't pay as much attention to the character's faults in a sense and whatnot.
Because when characters are challenged with regular life problems, like not even going so far as I can't pay my rent, but another goal would be Carol and Tuesday.
Yeah, that was basically the whole thing for rent, right?
Yeah, pretty much, exactly. When you're faced with, like Carol and Tuesday, right? They do odd jobs. They want to do a singing career.
They gotta raise money or other stuff.
See, where I'm going to be honest right now. I'm going to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Where Carol and Tuesday failed to do was character development. When stuff happens, I don't see it reflected on the character the next time we see them again. They're back, they're sporty, they're bouncy, they're happy. Like, yo, life sucks sometimes.
A lot of the time.
How do you deal with that? If I have a character who...
It felt like in Carol and Tuesday, like they were more so just taking a back seat. Like they saw the issues, and the issues happened to them. And they talked about it, but the way that they spoke about it was as if they weren't in the... Like literally in the here and now, like they weren't in the present. Like they had the ability to step and sit with us and just view their problems objectively. Yeah,
it was really weird, especially when they went on the talk show and they kind of talked about it. Like, I get the modesty, but it seems like they're not there at all. You know?
Yeah, so, it's like, does anything affect y'all?
Right. So what's the point of putting obstacles in their path if they don't grow from it, if nothing changes in their character and personality? I'm not saying they have to do a drastic change, but in a simple scenario where it's like, my car gets towed and I have this thing to do, my future dream depends on it. I'm using Carol and Tuesday because they don't have a car, but just a hypothetical thing.
Okay.
If they had a car and they're trying to do gigs on the road and their car gets towed, how are they going to deal with that? Are they going to save up for another car? Are they going to try to hoof it by foot, do tour bus? That's like, you can literally make an entire story based on just them with that problem. And showing the characters either backing off from the problem, like, now this is too much, I can't do this. Because it's stressful. It really is stressful when you don't have money in your car gets towed.
I feel like because of the current meta we live in, with Carol and Tuesday, that they write the characters in such a way where they wouldn't be offensive, where people couldn't find offense in them to kind of protect themselves and whatnot. It's like when Charles Schultz created that black character.
Yeah, we talked about this.
But where with all the other Charlie Brown characters, they had like a personality and faults and weaknesses. Little dude didn't really have any faults. Like, he didn't really feel like part of the Peanut gang or whatnot. It's like he took a very passive role with him. So because, I mean, you know, props to him for including a black person into the story. But,
I mean,
you know, you bring
that's
up,
as far as his inclusion went.
Yeah. And that's just, like, why I pretty much hate everything modern. Because, like, but no, really, like, anytime, and I even saw one of our associates or friends mention this on Facebook. I'm not going to name them because of the subject matter, but it's kind of like where there's this thing now, and I say I don't think this is necessarily the fault of advertisement in movies. I think it's just, like you said, the meta we live in terms of how social media works. Like, there was a time in with film where after the movie is said and done, after it's gained its popularity or whatever, then you find out all the trivia and rough drafts that it almost was. Nowadays, you're seeing that in its motion. So you might see, so and so has been cast to play this iconic character, and the whole internet loses their mind. And it's like so and so is out. Now this person's playing it. Internet loses them out. So and so is out. Where literally every movie ever goes through this, But nowadays we're seeing it in the making. So a lot of people have put it. It's you see it differently.
They get a live. The people get a live.
I feel like it works, right?
I do not.
Well, okay. So I'm gonna give you 2 examples, right? With that.
Yeah.
Okay. Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay. Yeah.
Jared Leto's Joker.
Yeah, because then they cut out like 17 minutes or something like that.
Well, no. Okay, hold on. So with Sonic the Hedgehog, we know it worked perfectly for that film when they first showed the trailer.
Yeah.
And then the response, the extreme negative response, they changed it and whatnot. With Jared Leto's Joker, when they revealed the pictures, it received extreme negative response, and they said, "What? These are just little promotional things. This isn't final. This isn't the final look." And then when the movie came out, you realize, yo, these motherfuckers lied. This was the final look completely, right?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And he has become one of the most hated Jokers since then. Even more hated than the one Joker with the dreads that did Capoeira. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's the most hated, actually.
Yeah, there's a Joker. I forgot.
The Batman.
The Batman, yeah. The Batman.
But to be honest,
wow,
he wasn't so bad. I just know MDC doesn't really care for him because he seemed less Joker.
But honestly, most of the characters, the problem with that whole show is that every character was so on the nose. That was the whole thing about the Batman.
No, when you mean on the nose, you mean tropey? Like they got stuck in one.
Pretty much, it was that, and it was like too much of what they were. Like, I'm trying to remember. I just remember. I mean, to be honest, blatantly speaking, this is both me being old and it's just a proven scientific religious fact. Nothing's beating Batman the animated series. Just saying that.
Oh, I mean, I'll get
it.
So by default, you compare to that, but at the same time, we've had plenty of interest, like the DC animated movies up until recently have been pretty good.
What do you see up until recently?
I don't know. It just fell off after the Killing Joke.
Wait, really? You don't like?
Okay, I didn't care for the Killing Joke, but I feel like you. I don't know. I did like this recent one they did with Batman and Constantine. That was okay.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched it. Right behind you, in its entirety.
I don't know. I might be judging.
I even showed you a part.
Yes. I didn't know it was Batman and Constantine.
Yeah.
Or maybe I didn't.
Yeah,
know
it was Batman and Constantine.
But on that, now see what you just mentioned though. Them releasing the, what you just said.
Oh, but going back to Sonic and the Joker.
Now here's the thing about that. Though, yeah, again, things are different. That's not entirely a new thing either. Because you used to have, or we still do, I guess, had test screenings. And a lot of movies.
Okay, how many test screens have you been to?
0.
Anna?
Oh, none.
But
exactly.
But you know what? Here's the thing.
Okay.
They did work.
And but not always.
Well, okay. So let me. I don't.
Because we can say that more than likely any film that's being produced by a big studio is getting a test screen, right?
Actually, I think most movies do. Well, see, okay.
Right.
Well,
so okay, but then also look at other things like X-Men and when they did what's the dude? Apocalypse?
X-Men Apocalypse?
Yeah. But isn't Apocalypse like a sorry, I don't know too much about X-Men. Yeah.
It's a character.
That one where he looked like freaking Zord. Not Zord. He looked like the
AWWH?
Yes, from Power Rangers.
Yeah. I actually have always forgotten about that.
Or any Doctor Doom that was in any Fantastic Four film.
Okay, the first one looked cool. I will fight you.
I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. Wow, cool, great.
Yeah,
I love the background soundtrack.
I'm gonna have to see it. I don't think that came up.
Oh, cool. That's just me.
Yeah, look at that.
Okay, I have to see, but like,
I mean, the thing
Galactus in the second one was a fucking tornado.
Oh, and Fantastic. Yeah.
Wow.
we don't
weird.
talk.
I remember how he looked in the most recent Fantastic Four. Because honestly, I'm going to be honest,
watched
I
those,
haven't
man.
seen all of it. I haven't seen any other Fantastic Fours. I just seen like screenshots and shit.
Oh, okay.
But-
I'm just like, I wasn't touching
Like
those
I'm
with the
like,
box.
yo, if you had like actual fans in these test screens, I'm pretty sure they should have been like, yo, like no, this is pretty bad. I
Well-
like the idea of them releasing pictures and them actually allowing themselves, hopefully doing this early in development, to be responsive to how people react.
But here's the other thing though. That's what I'm saying. It's like you had test screenings, but even before test screenings, you've had that where really when it gets down to it, it really depends on how generous the filmmakers want to be, because there's been plenty of movies. There's been plenty of movies where people have suggested. Perfect example. The only great Halloween sequel, Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. And if you're hip enough
dude,
to be in this argument, I am right, and you can't deny that. And here's why. Yeah, here's why. All right, so let me explain this. All right, Halloween 2 is all right, but no one remembers it. So, Halloween 3: Season of the Witch, for those in the know, was the only Halloween movie that didn't have Michael Myers.
Okay.
Now,
Which one was the one with Busta Rhymes? That was pretty good. I like that one.
Isn't that?
Season of the Rhymes.
Oh.
someone, you know, y'all might lose a member tonight. And just let y'all know, you might witness a murder. I will confess to it. I don't mind.
I will confess.
But anyway,
It was me.
we ain't talking about that. That ain't canon. In fact, none of the sequels are canon as far as I'm concerned.
Dad, none of them.
The first
Okay,
Halloween's
so-
the only one that matters. So anyway,
Okay.
other than Season of the Witch, but it doesn't count because it didn't have Michael Myers. So, check this out. It's called Halloween Season of the Witch. Now, it was John Carpenter's original intention for every Halloween movie to be a different story. There was going to be two with Michael Myers, and everyone after that was going to be a different story.
Okay.
So, they're doing this movie. The concept is completely original and different and pretty freaking awesome. Fight me. But
there's always a but.
while they're like the closer they are to finishing, they're like, you know what? Maybe we should take Halloween off the title and just call it Season of the Witch. They had this conscious decision because they knew that people are gonna go see this movie expecting Michael Myers and not gonna get it, and they're gonna freaking hate it. But you know what the studios were like? No,
Because
money.
they felt like, well, I'm going to guess here. I'm assuming that they felt like it was going to be harder for them to advertise a film without Halloween's
In the title?
without Halloween in the title. Like if you say like boom, this is a Halloween movie, then you got everyone who's seen the first and the second one that's going in to watch it.
Well, yeah, but this is like, remember, this is like the 80s, so people don't even know this movie's really coming out, you know. So no one knows.
Like actually when it comes out.
Yeah. When it comes out, you know, they're trying to get that crowd from the first two.
Yeah.
So the people making the movie were just like, this is not going to be a good idea. People are going to be misled. They're going to be pissed off and they're going to hate this movie. And you know what happened? They were pretty pissed at that movie for not getting Michael Myers.
Right, because
You know?
like it didn't exist where
Pretty much.
you would have had someone interview John Carpenter and he would have said, the first two movies going to be about Michael Myers, the next one's not.
Yeah.
So it was a good movie though, right?
It's a great movie. God damn it.
I need to see it.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
It's the third best horror movie based around Halloween.
Yeah.
You understand that?
Is there a lot?
Halloween number one.
Is there a lot?
Halloween, the original Halloween is number one.
Okay.
Number two is Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat is good.
Season of the Witch is number three.
Oh.
God dang it, I'm right.
Oh.
Oh my.
It's a
Okay.
fact. Fight me, I'll kill you. Anyway,
So where does the Busta Rhymes one fall?
shut the You know what? Anyway.
The integrity of a character, right?
But well, hold on. What I wanted to add though is
Oh, I
that
thought we were gonna.
the thing about it, one reason why I kind of ignore a lot of these things that come up is because first and foremost, like I said, I'm a film person, so I tend to look up the film before it even comes out. That's how I knew the Dragon Ball movie was gonna be garbage because I was like, there is nothing in this casting or the crew that it all inspires me about this.
Well, no, he brings up a very good point.
Like,
Because I've learned to look at anime directors, and I'm like, yo, if an anime director looks a certain way, depending on the kind of project that an anime director worked on, it depends on how it might turn out. I've seen anime directors work on things that's outside of what they're known for. So, like, let's say for, using Anna, her slice of life animes, and then they jump into an anime that is very like fight based. Like, there's a lot of battles and stuff like that. A lot of the times, it doesn't translate well.
Yeah.
Because they have all this experience not working on such projects that, are really based on like fight scenes. Yeah, combat scenes and fight scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I look to certain studios when it comes to fight scenes in anime because you can definitely see the difference after a while.
And see, it's like...
And that's the same way when you do the research, and that way we do that with anime because it's like...
Yeah, because the thing about it, it's like, and there have been some people to surprise you with things, but the thing about it, it's like, it's kind of like electing a political official. Forget what they're saying in their speech. Look at what they've already done. That's what it kind of comes down to. Like, so in the case of Dragon Ball, it was like, this guy directed the first and the third Final Destination.
Well,
and Goku's white. They got Spike to play Piccolo. We all know that's supposed to be Peter Mensah. I'm campaign that until I or he dies first. I don't know. I'm campaigning that to the end of the world. And just other stuff. I was like, this movie is just gonna be complete garbage trash, and it was, And so, when I look, and the thing about it again, clearly while they were making this movie, they did not consider anything the fans wanted, anything the story needed, none of that, And so nowadays, while I look at internet, like the people that did Sonic obviously gave a crap. They obviously gave a crap. They was like, you know what? These fans are gonna pay for this. Let's make them happy. And in the case of Suicide Squad, the DCEU is garbage trash. I will stand by that because it is. And from the get-go, they were messing up and rushing everything, and that's why the things they did came out the way it did. So it really didn't matter the response. The movie was already made, and it was already garbage.
Jeez, just...
I wanted to bring something up that I thought was pretty
Joker
amazing.
was garbage, too.
Dang. With the Sonic movie, though, the studio that did the special effects for that, dude, it's fucking Technicolor.
Wait, Technicolor did it?
Yes.
Wow, they're old.
I didn't know that they still fucking existed.
Dude, I can't believe they're still kicking.
My damn.
Yes, from the old Looney Tunes cartoons. Yeah. They fucking still exist in this day and age. I'm like, whoa, holy fuck.
Sonic
I did not know that.
Amazing.
Wow.
Then that's another thing where they kept the integrity of the character, I felt like, too.
Right.
And you could
I
tell
feel like
when
in
you
a lot
do
of situations, they don't keep the integrity. And, for me, I feel like it's a lot of the producers and whatnot.
Oh, it is.
Especially with DCEU, where there's like, we got to marvel it up. We got to marvel it up.
It's never one person you could blame because, honestly, I always say it comes down to three: either the producers, the studios, or the director.
I blame everybody.
Well, it goes in a circle because sometimes it is the director, sometimes it's the producer, sometimes it's the studio, sometimes it's all them fuckers. It just really depends, because I've heard horror stories going every which way with these things. I've been on a set with, directors and producers calling shots, and yeah, it really sucks.
Yeah,
the best way to put it. Yeah. It just really depends on a lot of different things. Like sometimes the producer and director on par, see eye to eye from the get go. Sometimes the producer just wants his cash and he has way too much power.
Way too much power.
Way too much.
That's actually something that we should probably talk about in a future podcast. Like how much power should you give the producer?
Oh man.
How much? Even though I know you've only worked on one project thus far with a producer.
Nope, I worked on a few.
Oh,
The one that, in fact, the one that got me on this last project, I've worked with her a few times.
oh, that has a producer.
Uh-huh.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's why I get so much work. Yeah.
Shit. So do you have like a resume or something?
I'm working on it. I need. Yeah.
That means
I
no.
am terrible at paperwork. Okay.
Well, I just created Anna's resume. I'll create yours for $5.
I appreciate it.
I don't know if I'm offended for you asking me for $5 or the fact that you just short-sighted yourself that far. God
Yeah, that was pretty sure, babe.
bitch.
I'm joking.
I'm already offended though.
It will be free for you, baby.
But the offense is still there. I'm not gonna stop being offended because you're buttering me up.
But that's what Slice of Life taught me, right? Because Slice of Life heavily depends on the characters for the progression of the story. And from that, I learned the importance of character development. And I can apply that insight on character development to all the things we just named. Movies, animes, comics, mangas. Like, a story doesn't pique my interest if the characters are displaying traits that interest me very little. One of them being, and I'm going to be honest, and shots fired, and I apologize for any fans that just look at me like side-eyed, but really, memes really right now. Get off your phone now. He stuffed a Little Caesars box.
I'm sorry. People don't know what the fuck to do.
We hasn't been
I was looking at my. Forgive me. I was looking at my phone, and it was a picture of a Little Caesars box, pizza box, and you know they got Little Caesar there eating a pizza, and a person holding a knife
really fast
and fucking stabbing Little Caesar. And I'm just like, people don't. Oh my goodness!
You don't know what
this is hilarious. Why haven't I seen this before?
I don't know, because I've seen it like years ago, homie.
Really?
Oh, you have?
Dude, half the memes you showed me I saw like 5 years ago.
Well, this actually was posted like a year ago too.
See, look at that.
I totally forgot where I was going with it. Thanks a lot, guys. Okay, hold on.
I'm a victim too, alright? I didn't even
Character development. I didn't. Oh yeah. I'm shots fired. I'm gonna get a little bit of heat for this, but I don't like Ichigo from Bleach. Like, I don't like the characters where their adversity is thrown at them, and they're just like, I'm not changing in my ways. And so, yeah, I get it. The world has to change around the characters, but that's not entertaining to me. Mm-hmm. Like, they drew opponent after opponent with a bunch of different, backstories galore. Everybody, but dude Sandoz got backstory. I'm joking, but no, it was ridiculous how every single character had this very vivid backstory, and Ichigo was like, "Cool story, bro. Anyways, come fight me." And I'm not saying he was like that the entire time. He had emotions, but at the end of it, it didn't change him. I didn't see the change. If there was change, it was itty bitty tiny incremental. That's what I feel
this is us definitely talking about the anime version. We never read the manga.
And we got
I heard they're supposed to be continuing the anime version, but I think it's something of a little
that both sold for me.
Like, what is it?
I don't know.
Like a myth?
Post-hominous?
Like a myth, kind of.
I guess. Oh yeah. Like right now, it's like an urban legend on the internet. Not an urban legend, but it's like
give me something like give me something else.
Rumor.
Yeah, like a rumor. Like it's like the rumor of the anime world.
Yeah.
Like, give me something concerning the film world of a project that's just been in
Development Hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like.
But everyone still holds hope to
and
it.
you hear about it every now and then.
Yeah, and R-rated At the Mountains of Madness by Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, that sounds cool. Wait, it's not R-rated?
I have no idea what that is.
No, it should be, but he talked about compromise with PG. I'm like, don't do that. Why would you do that?
The
don't
integrity.
Do that. Okay, so probably not development hell, probably development limbo.
So hell, limbo. Point is, it ain't in heaven.
True. Well, we're not in heaven either.
But it's like
exactly. You see my point?
It's like, okay, so what?
It's like it's in the rumor mill. It's just this thing that keeps coming
like
around
how
every
like
now
with
and
Kingdom Hearts 3, where people like years ago people did not know if that junk was ever gonna come out.
So many years went past.
Right.
We were like, are we really getting this? Like, no. That's like being stranded on an island, and a ship comes by, and like you're praying that it's help, but it's actually like Kingdom Hearts X, and you're like, but I want Kingdom Hearts 3. You're gonna get on the ship, but then it just takes you to another island, and you're just like, no. It's like, no, it's okay. Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming, and then you just keep getting shit over and over.
Like, people did a petition. I remember signing that junk last year for like bring Bleach back, because I thought it was an actual thing. Because the movie came out. The movie came out. The live action movie came out.
Oh yeah.
And whatnot. So a lot of people thought like, okay, this was going to be enough hype to bring back the film. I mean, to bring back the anime to at least finish it, because the manga finished years ago.
I mean, we stopped after pretty much he beat what Aizen, like beat, because it was like flying macaronis for that one. Cause
yeah, we literally stopped after that.
Yeah.
And then we tried to get back into the
tried
to the part where all the Zanpakutos had came to life.
Yeah.
Really couldn't get into that, so we eventually just fell off.
So, but it's like, okay, I'm not saying that I don't acknowledge the growth that Ichigo made from the beginning of the story till about midway through, and I would say midway for me is the fight in Hueco Mundo.
But I feel like in a lot of those anime similar like that, is it really a growth in character or just a growth in that character's like physical strength?
And yeah, that's really hard to tell with Ichigo. Everybody else around him changed.
One of my friends
that
called it like a level up anime.
Yeah, and I'm not fond of those. And I like fighting anime. I enjoy action battle scenes. I mean, pretty much making a story around that. But to me, the importance is that the characters are deeply affected by these events.
Right.
Like impacted in some way where either it changed their entire worldview or it makes them reconsider just how important that view is. And then from there, they made a very impactful decision and another impactful decision. Because life is filled, that's the other thing, life is filled with several different decisions. Mm-hmm. It's not just one. Because you can make the one big decision in your life and years down the line, you don't even remember what that decision is anymore, because so many things have changed since then. You might remember it slightly, but you grew as a human and you made a bunch of different new decisions. And I love that because slice of life, certain ones, when you put those obstacles in your characters that are big, small, medium, however order, you start to realize that your character maybe can or can't handle it. They become more alive. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying adversity is the only thing that brings your character to life, because you give them scenarios where it's not a problem, but it's a situation. And I don't want to say every situation is a problem. It can be a problem. Does your character see it as a problem? Does it see it as a challenge? Does it see it as a chance to become more, Like, you get to define that. And then if you're someone like me who kind of just starts to just watch, just throw shit at their characters and watch them evolve, what does your character gain from you as its creator? I love that about Slice of Life. I learned a lot from that. And then you mix in fantasy with that. Love it. Just throwing a little bit like, okay, I want to put a horse boy in there, and I want to put a mermaid, and I want some bird people. Live together.
Okay.
Live with the human. Fuck humans. Live with the Kappa.
That literally sounds like our D&D nights.
It is. Fuck humans. I'm sorry. The human races, I understand they get like a bigger
literally
boost.
in
So
our
boring.
in our little squad, we have a Tieflin.
Mm-hmm.
We have a mermaid.
I'm a Triton.
Trident, yes. We have a Trident. We have a shifter.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Jin.
Mm-hmm.
And
a Ganassi.
Okay, a Ganassi and whatever Sean is. What is he?
A Kalishtar.
Kalishtar, which is basically a disturbed human.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah, sort of. I mean, his face is also like super like
perfect.
Yeah, symmetrical, so he looks really creepy.
So it's like always waking
creepy.
up to like Alicia Keys with makeup.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Is that your version of her? Yeah. Don't answer.
No, perfect in the sense of symmetrical. Because that's what he is supposed to be, right? Perfectly, his face supposed to be perfectly symmetrical.
Yeah, backtrack that all the way then.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
we're
she's
just
supposed
like
to have like a perfect symmetrical face. When I guess she has makeup on.
Does that realign her eyes or something?
Probably.
I hate you so much. Yes, we are a D&D group
This is literally
of
science.
non-humans, okay? And sometimes we say something like specious against humans.
Sean is a human.
No, he's a Kalistar.
What is that?
He's not human.
He's not human.
No, he's not. He's
Okay.
humanoid, but he's not human.
What about the genie
Like
girl?
as far as like his race,
The genie girl.
the Ganassi is like it's kind of like a
Technically human,
tiefling. No. Definitely Jinn, but somewhere down the line they slept with a human or they have like human mixed in with them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I need to care more about my teammates.
You really should, especially when they're like, oh, crap. Damn. Mr. Birthday. I'm a type of person. Super good.
Okay. So, yeah. So,
Sierra, I'm sorry. Sierra, I'm sorry. Happy birthday, Sierra. I'm so sorry.
You know, this
really
is
suck.
literally going
I'm dating this.
to air like 4 weeks from now.
What? Okay,
Like,
you know that. I'm just gonna message you real quick.
Yeah, please do.
I'm gonna just. So don't mind me. So that's me about slice of life. That's what inspires me. That's what drives me. That's what I learned from it. Because if you take it at face value, then you're just gonna think it's a bunch of kids in high school dealing with high school problems. I like the one with artist kids in college, and they all have different art majors,
Right.
and they deal. That's one of my favorites. I forgot what it's called, and I'm sorry. I always forget stuff
So
But,
it inspires you because it's challenging.
because it's
In a
challenging.
sense.
Because there's something deeper to it, and there's there's more implied. It's not something where it's like, ooh, just write a story about kids in high school. It's like, no. You're gonna have to make, if you want this to be like really good and compelling and like heart wrenching, you're gonna have to put some of you in that story.
So how do episodes normally end in Slice of Life? Do they end with a solution, or is it usually like a cliffhanger?
See, the fun ones are the cliffhanger episodes, and those do come in time. Sometimes they'll be like, the intro episodes, and then the cliffhanger is the intro episode. So the intro episodes should normally be a cliffhanger because, it's kind of like I just discovered that this place that I'm staying at is an all-boys dorm, and I'm a chick, and they thought I was a chick. Something like that. It's kind of silly, but, and then the cliffhanger ends there. Oh, the great one is Orange High School Host Club. I
love Orange.
Yeah, dude, it's so good because you're given this like generic harem of boys, and then you get to know them past their like artificial guys that they put on for their host club, and it's really and then, dude, Haruhi is so deep. I really love her so much because it's like it's so much. Just watch. I'm not even gonna say much on that part, but yeah, you would have the cliffhanger episode. And then you would have the next episode after that kind of like wraps it up, makes a solution, and then you go into an episode where it's like a menial task is accomplished. Woo, some of the stories unlocked. Happy ending. Or you can even go so far as to be like, this thing happened and these two characters don't like each other now, and no matter what they did, it wasn't resolved. End of episode. And then the next episode picks up somewhere else, but now that tension is there, and you have to work with that tension because you cannot. You really want a good story, you can't just drop it like nothing happened in the last episode.
Right.
You got to keep that tension there while also have these other characters go about their tasks for their day. And then eventually they're going to have to deal with that conflict because that tension, if left building, could create this whole new mess that's in. And it's just so much fun because you're pretty much you're just dropping them in a box and like that episode of Adventure Time when they got like the bag of characters from Magic Man.
Yeah,
that was them. Yeah. And you just gotta watch them do stuff. That was a really good episode. I didn't want to put the C-listers in there.
So how does that affect the stories that you create yourself?
Oh.
Like, do you
You brought it back to me.
Do you do that? Like, do you, when you're creating like some type of conflict for your characters, do you kind of play around with situations like, I'm going to take this character and I'm going to take these two characters and then I'm going to give them this like random issue
Oh, yeah.
and whatnot. Like, I don't know, like, do you create like a simulation of stuff
Yes.
before you finalize it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I have a green journal that's like maybe 500 pages, and some of those pages are random information that I really should organize. But the other bits are me writing out like key points. Like, So for Dare the Hunt, because that's the current one I have, I do it for other stores too. And I also do it on Google Documents. They're great. I wish they'd sponsor. But for Dare the Hunt, right? I come up with, okay, so they're not hunting all the time. They need to have a slowdown. Demons aren't attacking endlessly like they used to. That isn't realistic in my world anymore. The demons have slowed down, and they have some lull between hunts. So, and they're walking everywhere. There are jeeps, but those kind of transport larger goods, and jeeps are also, they're a rarity in this, which is fair because it's the end of not the end of the world, but it's post-apocalyptic. Shit has changed. So like, so Middnite has some time while they're traveling from one destination to the next to talk to her teammates. Okay, Middnite, if I want to go to the scene where she's kind of new being here, what is she gonna talk to them about? They're already kind of weirded out about her because she has a demon eye. Yes, she has a demon eye, and she's utilized for that. But she also kind of wants to be. She's young in this, so it's like one of those situations where, you could say she's being taken advantage of, but this family is taking care of her. But they're also teaching her how to use her eye, and they're also using the benefits of her eye. So it's like a give kind of thing, or give and take kind of thing. Later on, I mean, that's not forced to stay there. It's just she lost her family, so she kind of wants lost her family. I'll be vague with that, and she longs for another group. So she wants to talk to these people. Okay. Well, let's figure out an idea. Who's Middnite gonna talk to first? She's gonna talk to the strategist, kind of mean Reina. Is she gonna talk to the aloof, smart ass Amando? Is she gonna talk to the jokester, carefree Neva, the quiet, silent Winter Tree? She gonna talk to the standoffish. She's jokey too, to be honest. She's kind of jokey, Cassie. And I run through scenarios of what happens if you talk to each and every one of them. Or what if she chooses not to talk to them at all? What if she chooses to keep to herself? Well, then how am I going to entertain this part? I do want it to be entertaining. What's she thinking about while she's doing this? Is she thinking about talking to one of them? Is she imagining them in her head? Or if she goes and talks to them, does anybody else notice? I literally have pages where I have these branches of Middnite talks to Neva. Neva makes a joke, but doesn't really want to like continue a conversation because he's wary. He's very careful. Middnite wants to push the issue a bit more. She wants to talk more. Neva's a little bit freaked out. It's just I create that simulation tree, and it's really fun when you add fighting into it. Mm-hmm. So someone gets hurt, or someone's about to get hurt. Middnite, being new to this group, she gonna rush to help them? Is she gonna listen to the orders and stay in the back because she's a scout? She's valuable. She can't be in the fight. Is she gonna ignore that? What happens if she ignores that? She knows what happens if she ignores that. Would she weigh those options? I literally, with that tree of a simulation, think about Middnite and what she would do in all those scenarios, what her group of people would react to with those scenarios, or what another group would react to, because there's just so much in this world that happens at the same time. The world doesn't stop for Middnite. Mm-hmm. The world reacts to Middnite, and Middnite reacts to the world, and the people react to Middnite and the world, and all of that, etc. So a simulation tree of Middnite saying, okay, I'm gonna do this, and the person reacts to it, and then like another branch of happenstances happen from that, and then I pick the one, of course, where if I want Middnite to go up on the scale, I want Middnite to make friends and feel better, or down the scale, I want Middnite to be a loner, and I want her to use this against to hold this bitterness, or I want Middnite to remember that this happened and realize that some friends can't be this way, or I want Middnite to have a group that she can, there's just so many ways to go about it.
That's very interesting that you do that, because I find myself doing that as well too with my characters.
I get pretty lost in it.
Where, yeah, you can if you let it go on for too far. But yeah, when I do give them a situation like that, and then try to figure out how to have them, react. Excuse me, in that situation. And when they can go, choose to go left or choose to go right. And expand on that a few steps to, well, what can happen if they do this? And I normally try to go for what I find to be the most interesting. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. But also trying to stay within character too. But hmm, yeah. So with that, that can be a bit confusing because it's like,
Oh, is it?
yeah, because I'm when I say stay in character, like that can also make the story boring, in a sense.
True.
Like if you're saying like this character is the bad guy. Well, first I guess you have to understand that not like people aren't 100% bad.
Yeah.
And whatnot, and that doesn't mean that every situation that person has to choose the wrong answer to it.
Right.
And whatnot. Sometimes that person might be, become conflicted and whatnot, and you can show it in the character. You can show it in the story how that character might be conflicted. Like they probably want to do the wrong thing, but something is telling them, no or whatever. I don't know. That goes into like the character arc and whatnot, and it's a whole lot into that too.
Would definitely suggest looking up the book. It's behind me.
Is it? Which one are you talking about?
The purple one.
The purple.
No,
one?
the purple one's dialogue, isn't it?
No, the purple one's creating great characters.
Yeah, that.
Create great characters, something like that.
Man, I thought you knew the title. Now I gotta. Okay, turn it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the one I wouldn't recommend though. I didn't really care for that one.
What? Why? I thought it was the one we liked.
I don't know. That one was like a anthology.
Oh.
I'm not a big fan of how-to books. That's this sounds so horrible considering that I'm part of an anthology how-to books. Yeah,
It's
that
okay.
one. I
Yeah,
didn't really care for
mind.
that one.
I liked it.
But there was
bit.
another one right there.
This
right?
one I liked. I would say if you check it out, Creating Characters: The Complete Guide to Populating Your Fiction.
I feel like the fiction writer's guide to dialogue speaks more so on characters than that book.
I
that
recommend
and Dramatica.
Yes.
A new theory of story, like that's really good.
I
for
recommend
character development
for anybody dialogue. You have to know what your character sounds like, and I love Castlevania. Right, Castlevania is great. It's really good, but sometimes
She's talking about the animation.
The animation, sorry, Castlevania, the Netflix Castlevania, really good. Really love it. My only qualm with it is everyone kind of has the same voice. And when I say voice, I mean their dialogue. They're snarky. Even the priest in this town, or prior, or a judge, he's a smartass. They're all smartasses. Everybody's a smartass.
All of them are snarky.
Yeah, all of them are snarky. It's funny, though. It's funny, but, it's repetitive after a while.
Also, How to Write Great Characters.
Is that the one?
The Key to Your Hero's Growth and Transformation by David Weishart. That's a good one. I don't think there's a physical copy of the book, but
is that the one we have with
you
the
can get it
anagrams?
from off of you can get it from off of Amazon.
It's a great study if you want to understand.
I think it's like $1 or $5 or something.
Depending on what you got, but it's a great study for when we talk about characters that regress or go down the character arc. It actually breaks it down into like types of personality and fears.
Yeah, so basically I mean, people might be familiar with that, with the anagram, leaning towards a certain type of, like, it goes on the belief that a certain fear is what influences a person's personality, and that used to be a thing that some psychologists believed for people and whatnot, but I mean, I agree with a lot of psychologists that people are a little bit more complex than that. But I feel as far as character creation goes, that it's a pretty good guide and tool to use and whatnot. Because usually in your character creation, you don't want to be so simple where it's like, this is the bad guy. But you want to be a little bit more complex. Not as complex as like what a real human would be, but at least a bit more to kind of keep your readers on their toes.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that complexity, that chart, that kind of helps you develop that complexity, because it opens up, hey, this fear is connected to this possible personality types, and you're like giving these list of traits, personality traits. And it's very interesting. If you don't want to fully go with the fear thing, I would definitely check out at least the positives and the negatives behind like personality traits, tropes, and how traits, and how not all the characters have to have every single one. You can literally just take two or three. Please don't take just one. Please don't take just one. That's the problem. That's a trope. Taking one is bad. Like you want a character that's dissociative. Disassociative. That person has a lot more to them, and your audience would love it more. For those of you who seek an audience for their characters, your audience would love it more if your characters had more than just I'm the disassociative type. Like what more are you? Nope, it's just what I am.
Yeah.
I want some more. I want more behind that. Dialogue, so important. Your characters have to have their own voice. That really, really greatly helps when you're doing simulations or role playing. Neff and I was doing it earlier today, weren't we? For one of the stories we're working on.
Role playing?
Yeah, we just started. Wasn't even over in that direction. My brain's over there. He was in the kitchen, and I was at the dining room table, and we were discussing what was it? An outline or like scenarios for the story that we're working on. Mm-hmm. And we just happened to slip into two different characters. I was playing the council. He was playing a huntress character that we have, talking about the role of what's going to happen to one of our characters. And it was just so natural for us to just slip onto the council deciding the fate of this character, and the huntress saying that this shouldn't be the way, and we're just talking back and forth, and it literally helped us develop what's going to happen next or what could happen next. Mm-hmm. Because we can always go back and be like, oh, that's cool, we did that. I'm going to retcon a bit of it, put this in there instead. And now we have this new element in the mix, and now the character's life is then. Like, it's just so fun and easy. You don't have to have two people. It's really good if you brainstorm with friends.
Yeah.
Brainstorming with friends, bomb. They can bring so much to the table that you need. An outside perspective is great. For me, I have a lot of different voices. In general, I'm a Gemini. So it's like, it's easy for me to slip on a different mask for a character. And I used to not say that proudly. I used to think I was weird or not good at it. But no, I feel like I'm actually pretty good in having fully developed some of these getting on the road to fully developing some of these characters. That I've now been like, okay, I can have this conversation between these two characters, and that's where my simulations come from. I can have a conversation with like 5 characters. And it's just, the dialogue is important. I gotta know. They're this kind of people, so they would say this kind of thing, so then their actions would have them do this thing.
Yeah.
It's all together. You have to put dialogue in the story. You have to know what your characters sound like. And Slice of Life really brought that home for me. So that's why I love Slice of Life genre. I love the Western genre, dystopian, young adult fantasy, action adventure, sci-fi. But the ones that really defined me and really like inspired me to create and do stuff was definitely dystopian westerns and I hit the mic, sorry. Dystopian westerns and slice of life. So
yeah, that was definitely a lot. But no, I actually like that. I honestly didn't know that slice of life anime really had such a huge impact on you, but that's totally dope. And of course, you know, the dystopian westerns and whatnot, because the first episode, Jamal MDC did get to share a lot of multiple things that inspired us when we had agreed that it was going to be like a round robin situation of, okay, first Anna, then me, then MDC. But no, I'm actually glad to get all of that and get a good reason to why it inspired you. Yeah, so is there anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I was ready to move it on towards you, but you know, it's not we can do a 3-part thing.
Yeah, we're probably more than likely running out of time for that. NDC, anything you wanted to add? As you I'm going to say you probably know.
You real.
This man is eating an apple over there. But no. Definitely. Can I say this? I really want to kind of do like an anime inspired like segment for one of our episodes too, and really like bring Ashley in here because she really loves anime.
As we do.
Definitely wanted to go more into Carol and Tuesday. Like I know MDC's been quiet for a lot of this part because there's a lot of things that he haven't seen to what Anna was talking about.
Airplanes and starships.
But nah. This was cool. Next episode is gonna be your boy. Y'all gonna find out what I like too. What inspires me other than just cowboys and stuff, you know, because there's more. There's a lot more than just that.
Right.
They all say about themselves.
Like yo, I'm deep. Yeah.
That's what they all say about themselves.
Right. I feel like if you're deep, you shouldn't have to say that you're deep. Like people should just experience that.
That's what they all say about themselves.
Dude, everyone just says everything about themselves. Damn.
That's what they all say about themselves.
Anyways, yeah, we're gonna end this episode here. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and click that bell notice.
Yeah, let us know if you resonate
Keep
with anything
updated.
in here. If you were, following along or anything. So for my little rant,
That sounds sad.
for my little rant over here, just let me know if it was something that you guys see. If you picked up on some of your favorite genres too. Very curious. I mean, I'm open to a lot of them. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks for listening to me.
I hate y'all.
This has been a weird.
I'm just sitting here.
I'm just laughing. Like, I'm just like, what the hell happened? What the hell happened to this show? What have we become?
Oh my goodness.
We become screen hoggers apparently. Time hoggers.
Okay, first off, there's no screen
Time. Why don't you shut up?
But yeah, let us know how you feel about this episode, and if you want to hear more about it in like another segment. I wanted to have a little bit more fun and stuff with these podcast episodes too. Give y'all some more random things and projects. So yeah, definitely look towards that in the future. But as of right now, this is
Artist wife Middnite.
writer husband Neff.
Co-host. Director
Yeah,
friend. What are
me.
you, film friend.
What?
What title we give him again?
I don't know, Negro artist.
Wow.
I can't stand you.
What has I offended thee?
MDC.
Yeah.
People saying it.
Hi, we
Just
out.
say bingo.
Peace out.
Peace.